Hi everybody, it's Phil again with you after this United States government shutdown and now back in session again. What a crazy situation we've been through since about the 1st of October. Well, this president is saying now that we have suffered undue damage worldwide with our credibility issues because of this. That's a joke. Yes, I guess you can tell the focus today is going to be this horrendous joke that we call our United States government. And let me correct you, Mr. President. People are laughing at us. They're feeling sorry for us. They are criticizing us. They are ridiculing us. They are laughing at us, not because of this debacle, but they've been laughing at us, say, for the last 10 years, maybe even go back 15, because you people in Washington, you sick, sadistical idiots in Washington, can't come together on anything except to bicker and disagree and hold all of us American people hostage. So yeah, we're a laughing stock, and you've worked very hard to ensure that. You, Congress, the House, all of you muckety mucks up there, you good for nothing jackasses that do nothing but sit there and bicker like 2-year-old children. So yeah, we've lost all kinds of credibility. And the heartbreaking part of it all, aside from all the people that were out of work and had to scuffle and do for 2 weeks what most of the people, or a vast majority of the people in the United States, do on a day-to-day basis, from month to month, from year to year, I might add, was terrible. But the biggest heartbreak is on the world stage, knowing that this country has a government system that is flawed, has a political system that's dysfunctional. And then there comes these little polls from the news that, oh, well, America is blaming the House and Boehner and his group and the Tea Party, and the president is not at fault. All of you jackasses are at fault because you can't come together for the good of the American people. Yeah, the Tea Party had problems with this healthcare, this affordable healthcare program that was put out by dear Mr. President. Affordable? Yeah, I will admit I haven't looked at all the aspects of it, but the bits that I've heard on the news, this thing is anything but affordable. And that's why some of the Tea Party members had problems with it. That's why the vast majority of Americans have problems with it. That's why the system itself, even trying to register for it, is problematic. He was told, and by he I mean this person in the White House, he was told by his advisors, his tech advisors, that the system was not meant to handle that much traffic. But he put it out there anyway. You see, this character dances to the beat of his own drum. He doesn't have the United States people's welfare at heart, no matter how much he tries to spin it. And that's why he's always butting heads with Congress. He's always butting heads with the House. They're always butting heads with them because you got a bunch of butt heads in Washington, D.C. Okay, moments after this thing was done, he jumps back on his immigration bandwagon. Now, in other videos, you've heard me speak, and not necessarily in a favorable way, regarding immigration. And that's going to be some of the focus of today's video. I don't know why or how this society that we live in today can take the wrongdoer or the illegal perpetrator's view, turn it around, and make it the righteous thing to do. I just don't get that. If something is illegal, that means it's wrong. If something is illegal, it means that it's not right. If something is illegal, it means it's against written, stated societal law. That's why we have these laws on the books. And just because you may not have something go your way, just because you may not have something that you figure you should have, does not by any matter of means indicate that you should go and take it by illegal means. Case in point, I want a Rolls Royce Ghost. I love the car. It's a beautiful car. It's a wonderful car. It's a driver's car. It's a little more, that you should get in there and want to drive it yourself more so than the Rolls Royce Phaeton, or Phantom, excuse me. So yeah, I want a Rolls Royce Ghost. So now am I supposed to get in my current car and go to Beverly Hills or to Century City, Newport Beach, wherever they sell Rolls Royces, and just walk in, get some keys, and get in the car and leave? And, well, I want a better car. I want this for myself. I think I deserve it. Do you think that those people, the administration, the managers, sales managers, whatever, at Rolls-Royce Beverly Hills division, are going to let me drive out of there with that car? No. They're going to call every cop in town and report my butt as driving a stolen vehicle, and then the police are going to surround me in said vehicle, drag my black butt out of it, and beat the living crap out of me, kill me, possibly. If that extreme isn't met, then they're going to take me to jail, and then there I'm going to sit because I committed an illegal act. I committed an act that is against the law. I committed an act that is against the norm that is regimented by the society in which I live. So why is it that when it comes to these people crawling across the border, illegal foreigners, yeah, it's probably the cops going after one of them right now. Why is it that they can come over here and set up camp and, their wrongdoing is turned around, and now they're the ones to be praised, and the ones who have issues with it are now the bad guys? I just can't wrap my head around that concept. And then, excuse me, we're in the middle of almost might as well say $17 trillion worth of debt. Although we're the biggest financial superpower in the world. Don't understand that one either, but to each his own. And then some people over there in Washington are wondering, how did we get here? And what can we do to stop it? We're at loggerheads here. We just can't seem to understand how to do this. Okay, well, there's a lot of fat in Washington. I'm not going to deny that. There's a lot of needless government spending in Washington. Again, I'm not going to deny that. There's a lot of cheating and stealing and just total mismanagement in Washington, or whichever state you may live in, whichever city you live in. There's a lot of government crap that, the best swimmer in the world, which at this point I think is Michael Phelps, he couldn't even wade through all his crap. Okay, so that's just how much of it. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. But I mean, if you just think about what these people, this president and his supporters, are trying to, get us to drink the Kool-Aid on, if you were thinking, on a personal level, then you would understand why the hell our deficits are up. He's out there banging the drum, and his supporters are banging the drum for these people to come into the country, or those that are not already here, to stay here, giving them the amnesty, which is the reason he got back in there, by the way, because people with an ounce of brains in their head wouldn't have put him back in there. But anyway, he fixed it so that he would give these people the amnesty just before his re-election, and then his other cohorts, made it possible so that you didn't have to show IDs when you voted, and boom, he's back in there. And this state that I live in is the one that put him over the top. Although Ohio got the billing for it, we're the ones who set it up. Anyway, his supporters are getting these people here, giving them the amnesty. Now, number one, they only have the shirts on their back when they get here. They have no visible means of support. All of them that come over here aren't law-abiding citizens. In fact, I can say all of them. Well, Phil, how can you say all of them? Some of them are hardworking people. No, all of them that cross the border and they don't have proper papers and proper documentation. They are illegal. They're breaking the law. So that makes them all lawbreakers on that score alone. Then there's the other score that some of them come over and they get involved in other illegal activities. And then what happens when they get caught? They get carted off to jail, okay? Since they don't have any money to get their own lawyers, hello? You got to hire a public defender. Who pays for that? John Q. Public. Okay, they come over here, they get sick. They have no funding, they have no visible means of support. They go to the hospital. Who pays for that? Since their pockets are empty, John Q. Public. You send their kids to school. Okay, that sets up a barrier and a problem because they don't speak the language. So now you got to hire people, you got to hire teachers, teacher assistants, educational aides, what have you, to help teach them their language while our kids sit in the background wanting. Then there's all these test scores and things that you base basically on their inability to speak the language and comprehend what the hell's going on. Again, who pays for that? Since they have no money in their pockets, John Q. Public. Then there's all the damage that's, caused by stuff that they do. We pick up the tab for that. You multiply that by all of the states in the union, all of the cities within those states, all of the counties within those cities, and it's astronomical. So I don't care if this president came up with a healthcare plan or whatever, what have you, it's still not going to fix the problem that he's invited. And not only him, I'm not faulting him totally, but his predecessors have invited all these foreigners over here with no visible means of support, and then we got to take care of them. The bill's steadily going up. Then we're outsourcing our jobs to places like China and other countries and what have you. We're not producing much of anything anymore. The city where I was born, Detroit, Michigan, was known as Motown, motor capital of the world. We produced cars, trucks, you name it, we produced it. As I have alluded to many times, we produced in this country everything from aircraft to Zwieback cookies. Now we produce very little of anything. Everything comes from China. People are not working because there are no jobs. And the few jobs that people do have to pay the taxes, the national debt is so far out of the limelight, it's just like putting a Band-Aid on a dead man. But yes, this immigration crapola is one of the main reasons why we're in financial trouble. And here is the kick-ass evaluation that I've noticed just over the past 2.5 years. Every country, Great Britain, Paris, Greece, Italy, Germany, all of these places that we've been pushing and to embrace diversity and democracy and all that, they have begun to follow the United States leader in getting all these foreigners on their shores. And what's happening? The same crap that's happening here is happening there. There's civil unrest. There's the loss of jobs. Unemployment is running rampant. There's crime. And there is financial degradation of those nations. Why? Because they're doing the same damn thing we are and getting all of these foreigners in here with no visible means of support, and now they've got to take care of them. So there you are. We got worldwide financial problems because we fail to understand that these people should stay in their own countries. It's not a Pangea anymore. You know, the little bits of land floated apart, and people develop their own nations and what have you, and their own forms of government. So am I to understand if you screw up your government, or your government is screwed, then you should just jump on a boat, and no matter how treacherous the waters are, float your behind over to another person's nation and just set up camp because you're looking for something better. Okay, here's the problem I have with that. Case in point, these people that perished, I believe they were from Somalia or some neighboring country in Africa, and they tried to cross over to an island nation just off the coast of Italy. The boat stopped, the ship stopped running, it was overloaded. They tried to set up a signal fire on the deck of the boat, which was totally nuts. I mean, I know ships are made of steel or iron, what have you, but all of it's not made out of steel. You just wooden floor there and you set the damn ship afire, then you got problems. You know, and there's a whole lot of water between you and the next piece of land. It doesn't, you know, bode well. Ship was overloaded. 200 plus went down. 100 plus were saved and taken on to their destination. And, you know, I don't mean to sound harsh here, because anytime a loss of life occurs, it's a tragic thing. But I mean, if it's like a loss of life that is, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's senseless. It's ridiculous. Here's what I'm learning here. I've learned that these people probably paid anywhere from $6,000 to about $9,000 to get on the boat to go to Europe or any of these destinations that they choose to go to. Why not take that money, pool it together, and try to make a difference where you are? That way, those people that are dead would have still been alive. It just doesn't make any sense to me, you know, why you feel like you got to run over to somebody else's country and just totally obliterate what they've got going on over there when they're scuffling themselves. You know, it just doesn't make sense. And that has now become the norm because people are following our leader. Oh, well, the Statue of Liberty says, give me you're tired, you're poor, and you're hungry. Somebody needs to take some cement and maybe fill those little words in because they're etched them, fill them in, paint it over, you know, or make some new ones and look, we have taken you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, and now we're in $17 trillion worth of debt. So now we're tired, poor, broke, and hungry. So you keep your folks over there in your own country and take care of yourself. You know, that's the only immigration reform that we need in this country is to shut the damn door. You know, it has gotten to be too much. Now I've even learned today while watching the news that I think it's over in Germany. Yeah, it's in Germany where these illegal immigrants have now camped out and are on a hunger strike. I think this is the 11th day of their hunger strike as of the time that I'm making this video. And the people there, oh, I'm torn because they need a better place to stay, but at the same time, they are breaking the law, and I'm just aghast that the government hasn't done anything about it. Okay, well, the government has followed America's leader by letting them all in the country. Now they're sitting over there with their fingers up their butt trying to figure out what to do next. Over in France, these students, thousands, hundreds of thousands of students are taken to the streets raising hell. which is something else I think they got from over here because of these immigration rallies and all this crapola that they do over here. Well, over in France, this girl from another country and her family just came in and squatted in France because they wanted to seek asylum. They failed to meet the criteria by which they could do that because they couldn't prove that anybody was chasing them or wanting to kill them. Then they tried to get in under the wire by saying, well, we've lived here so long and we've worked here and the kids are in school. They failed on that score. And then they were told to leave. So after that didn't materialize, the wheels of justice took action. So they got the girl off of a field trip. She was on a bus and on her way to a field trip. They got her off the bus, sent her back home with the rest of the family, and get them out of here. And now everybody's up in arms about it. Well, they did that. Oh, how terrible. They were there illegally. Big deal. Get them out of there. If everybody would, just think with their minds and with their good common sense instead of a bunch of bleeding hearts, they could possibly see the destruction, the degradation, both financially, systematically, educationally, medically, every other kind of you can think of, by having all these people come over here with their hand out saying, gimme. It's not the same mentality as it was when the initial immigrants came over seeking a new land. Not to come over here and sit on their ass with their hand out saying, gimme, but they came over and rolled up their sleeves and helped build this country. There is a vast difference between what went on in the turn of the century, from the 1800s to the 1900s, in the 20s and 30s, and a few decades rather after that. It's a different society. It's a different can of worms, people. Most of these folks that come over here, I'm not saying all, because some of them come over and they're industrious, and even Mr. President claims that, yeah, we want to embrace this kind of diversity because these people come over and they create jobs. Yeah, this is true. Those that are, diligent enough to keep working and build their own business, they open up jobs. But 9 cases out of 10, they hire their own kind. They don't give Americans jobs. And if they do give Americans jobs, there's some menial little piece of, as they say in Grand Theft Auto, piece of crap job that, they give their own the best. But the other end of that ticket is a lot of them come over here and sit on their ass. You go in the Social Security office, they're there and getting checks. You go in the welfare office, they're there and getting checks and food vouchers and Medicare and Medicaid, Medi-Cal, or whatever it is in your individual state. They're there and they're getting it. That's stuff that people that were born in this country, that have worked in this country, are entitled to. Not somebody who crawls across the border or somebody that's fresh off the boat. So there's a lot of things in this country. For so much that it is, there's so many things it ain't. And with these numbnuts that we keep putting in office, it's not making it any better. And I hate to be a pessimist here, but then I have to be a realist. There's no way to fix this. We're $17 trillion in debt. Our credit rating is going down the toilet. Then you got this pitiful mess in the White House that is still chomping at the bit to bring even more of them over here. You got this numbnuts that we got in the governor's office here in California. He signed the bill now to give them driver's licenses if the roads wasn't already screwed up enough. Now they're going to get driver's licenses. We have made so many concessions for foreigners that it's not even funny. At what cost? American lives. You look at the people in your city, in your town where you are. How many of them are homeless? You look at that fact, and then you ask yourself the other question: how many American people are homeless as compared to foreigners? You got foreigners riding around in Lexuses, Mercedes, Lamborghinis, all these fancy cars they're riding, and you got American people with signs saying hungry will work for food. And you claim democracy works. Go push that apple in front of those people's noses and see, don't you get cussed out, Mr. President. And that's something else that really gets my goat. I heard up today that, since the government is back open, that Mrs. President is now getting her personal garden weeded. And you mean she couldn't take her lazy ass out there and weed the garden that she's got to wait till? I mean, come on. This is bull crap. And then here's the thing, the ones that are remaining, they're still drawing money and getting Secret Service service. I mean, if somebody didn't want to kill the bastard while he was in office, who the hell would want to kill him after he's out? I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, you would want to do it when the guy is in office to get him the hell out of there. So why are you still protecting him when he's gone? And then still giving him money. That is crazy to me. It's just stupid. Because if you look back all the way to Kennedy, now those other ones I'm not so sure, I'd probably have to do my history. But I know Kennedy was filthy rich. His family they look upon them as America's royalty. The Kennedy family. And then everybody after Kennedy went through the doors of 1600s, the Pennsylvania Avenue, as millionaires. Maybe even billionaires. The bastards had money when they went in there. Kennedy had money. Johnson had money. Nixon had money. Carter had money because he sold all them damn peanuts down there in Plains, Georgia. Reagan had money because he acted his way through Hollywood just like he acted his way through the White House, the presidency. Then you look at Slick Willie. They wrote books, him and Hillary, and they were millionaires, plus all that money they stole in Whitewater, And then the Bushes, old man Bush and his pitiful son W, oily bastards, rich. This W, George W. Bush, he owned the Texas Rangers before he got to be governor of Texas. So, I mean, come on, you don't buy a baseball team with $2.50. It takes quite a little bit of money. Then you look at this character that's in there now. I believe they wrote books or something, and they had millions of dollars, maybe about 2 or 3 million when they walked through the door. So my point is, these people aren't hurting. They go in there in this playground known as Washington, D.C., and they just spin. And I mean, you can say, well, the Democrats are this, or the Republicans are that. It's all of them. They're all a bunch of jackasses. If you put them all in a bag and shake it up and turn it over, I don't know which one would fall out. They're all self-serving, greedy bastards who go there with an agenda to stuff as much money as they can in their own pockets to live their fancy lives. And here we are eating weenies and beans. You look at this character. Why is he drawing $400,000 a year, or however much the president makes? I think the last count was $400,000. He lives rent-free for 4 years. Doesn't have to worry about food. Doesn't have to worry about any kind of transportation. He has a big, fat, fancy jet that he rides around all over the world in. He's got big bulls, or whatever they call those limousines, that he toots around in. They don't even have to go shopping. Everything is planned for. So why is he getting a salary? And again, already rich. You look at George Washington. The poor man couldn't even afford to go to his own inaugural. After he got elected, they had to penny up and get him to Washington, to the White House, or whatever it is they had before they built the White House, so he could be president. These old presidents that started this thing, they didn't have money, and they went to Washington with helping the American people foremost in their mind. Not how can I gain the most prestige, what am I going to do to feather my own nest? That's all these people have on their minds. And we better wake up as American people and discover that it's not who has the slickest speech or the cutest smile or, whatever. It's who is going to get in there and best run the country, or what's left of it. We need to do that. And I think other nations are beginning to look at America more discriminately in the way they take care of business, because this was terrible. On a world stage, it was terrible. America cannot handle her own business. America cannot come together politically with a meeting of the minds to take care of her own people. That's sad. So, did Mr. President win? No. That sucker lost. Big time. Did Boehner and his group win? No. Those suckers lost big time. And the more poignant question is, did we win? No, hell no, because we're the ones who are sitting by like a freaking tennis match, looking back and forth at these idiots and their lack of ability to take care of business. So we're the biggest losers, not the ones on Channel 4. We're the biggest losers. And how can this be fixed? I don't know. Because society dictates what we send to the White House. Okay, this guy's in his 50s. 50 years ago, that's my time. There was this revolution, the sexual revolution, peace, joy, and love, get high, and all of this stuff. Even he himself smoking marijuana. So maybe that's why he can't meet with people and then get things. His brains are fried. And heavens knows what the other ones were doing. So my thing is, we need to pay more attention to what we're sending there, knowing that what we're sending there isn't that great anyway, but just don't be suckered in by a slick speech, because it doesn't mean anything. And I think we've seen that over the past 6 years. I think he's been there 6 years. And what the hell's going to go on in the next 2? We're going to be $20 trillion in debt, keep raising the debt ceiling. We'll be right back in the same bag of crap at the end of Christmas, where they're going over the cliff. And then at the last minute, because I knew we weren't going to go in default or anything. It was a bunch of crap. Because they always do that. They get you right there at the edge, and then, 11-hour deal. Stop playing games. That's all this is. Just a bunch of kindergartners playing games at the local elementary school. So I mean, he needs to start thinking about his own people. Let them foreigners stay over there in their own damn country. Have empathy for them, but let them stay over there. I think China is doing as well as they're doing is because it's comprised mostly of Chinese. I guess they have some immigrants over there, but they keep such a tight rein on it. It's like they're almost non-existent. In Russia, old Putin, I don't think he's Putin loud enough to let everybody in his country. And if he does, it's on such a minuscule level that's almost non-existent. So, I mean, if anything should come out of this, I think to shut the door on this immigration crap, forget about it. Those that are over here, I don't know, we might be powerless to get them out of here, but certainly don't let any more of them come over here. If they do come over here and they are kind of successful and they do have a job, you see the post offices, you see check cashing places, you see any place where they handle money, you see them in there sending back oodles of money back to their own damn country. That detracts from our economy. They're building hospitals and factories and housing projects in their own country because they're sending money back. So, I mean, these people, I'm getting hoarse here talking about this. They need to wake up and understand that we're in one hell of a mess if we're going to keep depending on these jackasses in Washington, D.C. Because now they've proven more than ever within 2 years, because we were supposed to be going over the cliff. I think it was in 2011 or something like that. So, and ever since he's been in there, there's been these problems. Spin. This stupid plan he has for healthcare. It's just spin. And he's trying to shut down Social Security. He's trying to shut down Medicare. He's trying to shut everything except his own mouth in order to fund it. People can't even get on it because of the crappy system they're using to keep falling apart and crashing and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, what does that tell you? We need to wake up because we're so far down in the toilet, we can barely see over the rim and see the rest of the bathroom. And why? Because of self-serving politicians who don't give a damn about this country or its people. And to the few out there, that little handful, that little tiny infinitesimal amount that maybe have gone to Washington and they do care about the people, you know, they're being just flooded with those who don't. As the saying goes, you show me an honest politician, and I'll show you a virgin in a maternity ward. Stay safe, people, and take care. For those of you who have subscribed to me, thank you so much. And for those of you who may have seen some sense in what I've said and would like to subscribe, I would implore you to do so. And thank you very much for doing so. You can look me up on Facebook, and if you want to be a friend there, I'm open to that. But please think, and think hard, because this is only getting started. It's not finished. It's just getting started. And it's going to get worse, because you got two sets of people. You got one over here in the White House, and you got those over there in Congress and in the Senate and the House, whatever, and they're doing this. And if you think they're going to change, I doubt it very seriously, because you can't change the spots on a leopard. That leopard is going to be spotted from the day he's born to the day he dies. Take care, and we will talk again. Have a great weekend.